What if I told you that China now builds more ships in 1 month than the United States does in an entire year? It sounds exaggerated, but it's not. In fact, China's shipyards are outproducing the rest of the world, and the implications go far beyond global commerce. This isn't just about cargo ships or fishing vessels. It's about military dominance, control of global supply chains, and geopolitical leverage. But how did we get here? How did China transform its once modest shipbuilding sector into a global powerhouse? And why does it pose a growing threat to the United States, not just economically, but militarily? Behind the roaring engines of a container ship lies a story of strategic planning, dual-use technology, and an industry that the West all but abandoned. So, if ships are the new submarines in today's great power competition, how vulnerable is the United States? That's what we're about to uncover. At a glance, a shipyard may look like just another industrial complex. But in China, it's something far more powerful. In 2024 alone, Chinese shipyards claimed 74% of all new shipbuilding orders globally, producing more than half of the world's total ship tonnage. That's not dominance, that's hegemony. Now, compare that to the United States, where shipbuilding has withered into near irrelevance. China builds over 1,700 commercial ships every year. The US fewer than 5. When you look at a commercial ship built in China, it might seem harmless. A cargo vessel hauling electronics, a tanker filled with oil. Nothing threatening at first glance. But what if that same shipyard was also building destroyers? This is the heart of China's military-civil fusion strategy, where the lines between commercial and military shipbuilding are intentionally blurred. Chinese shipyards don't just pivot from commercial to military. They do both, side by side. Why does this matter? Because while one ship is delivering iPhones, the next dock over might be assembling a stealth frigate. And from a logistics perspective, that's revolutionary. China has effectively built an industrial base that can scale its navy faster than any other nation on Earth. One key example? Jiangnan Shipyard, near Shanghai. It's building some of the world's largest commercial container ships, but it's also assembling advanced Type 055 guided missile destroyers for the People's Liberation Army Navy. The same workforce, the same supply chains, even the same infrastructure. But there's another twist. Some of the buyers of these commercial ships are foreign companies, including firms from the US, Taiwan, and Europe. They might be trying to cut costs, but in doing so, they're funding and strengthening a system that builds warships. It's a trap of convenience, hiding behind efficiency. And it's working. By integrating commercial and military production under one roof, China isn't just saving money. It's gaining time. And in a potential conflict, time could decide everything. So next time you see a Chinese-built container ship cruising peacefully into a global port, ask yourself, what else did that shipyard build? Because behind every steel hull may lie a silent edge, one designed not to carry goods, but to carry dominance. Once, the United States was a titan of shipbuilding. During World War II, American shipyards launched a new vessel every few hours, churning out Liberty ships, destroyers, and aircraft carriers at a pace the world had never seen. But today, those shipyards are mostly silent. The US now produces fewer than 5 commercial ships a year. That's not a typo. While China's docks are teeming with activity, many American yards have been shuttered or converted to maintenance facilities. So what happened? Some point to globalization, when American corporations outsourced manufacturing in search of cheaper labor. Others blame decades of underinvestment, aging infrastructure, and a lack of political will. But one thing is clear: America's shipbuilding sector was allowed to rot. Take the once proud shipyards of the East Coast. Many now rely on government subsidies to stay afloat, often focused exclusively on military contracts. And even then, delays and cost overruns are common. Meanwhile, the skilled labor that once powered the US industry is vanishing. Shipbuilding is not taught. It's not encouraged. Young engineers and tradespeople often don't even consider it a career path. That knowledge gap grows wider with each passing year. And the result? When the U.S. Navy needs new ships, it must wait years, sometimes a decade, for delivery. In contrast, China can build and commission modern warships in a fraction of the time. This isn't just a labor issue. It's a matter of national capability. The decline of American shipbuilding isn't just about economics. It's about exposure. In a world where naval power equals influence, the U.S. is slowly surrendering its shipyards, and with them, a key component of its global strength. So here's the unsettling question. If a crisis erupts tomorrow, can America build fast enough to respond? Or will it be too late, watching from across the sea as China surges ahead? Let's strip away the numbers and look at what really matters. Security. Because China's shipbuilding dominance isn't just about trade. It's about control. And it's starting to shake the foundations of U.S. military planning. Here's why. The Chinese Navy is now the largest in the world, not by potential, but by sheer number of ships. Many of those ships were built in the same shipyards producing cargo vessels for global markets. This dual capacity means China can ramp up naval production at an unprecedented speed. That's not just impressive, it's dangerous. In a military conflict, especially one involving Taiwan or the South China Sea, China could rapidly expand its fleet while maintaining civilian trade routes. The U.S., by contrast, is stuck, waiting on aging facilities and sluggish timelines. But ship counts are only the beginning. Here's a deeper threat, hiding in plain sight. Ports across America now depend on Chinese-manufactured cranes and infrastructure, especially those built by ZPMC, a Chinese state-linked company. These massive cranes handle the majority of U.S. container traffic, and U.S. officials are sounding the alarm. Could these machines be outfitted with surveillance tools? Could they be manipulated or disabled in a time of conflict? We don't know for sure, but the potential is chilling. Think about it. While we focus on aircraft carriers and destroyers, China might already be inside America's critical infrastructure, quietly collecting data. Or worse, waiting to shut down trade routes in a moment of crisis. And there's more. The U.S. has only a few shipyards capable of producing or repairing naval vessels at scale. A concentrated cyber attack or missile strike could disable them all. China, with dozens of facilities scattered across its coast, could absorb such a hit and continue production. So the risk isn't just that China is ahead, it's that America may not be able to catch up. In a confrontation that requires speed, logistics, and maritime dominance, the country with the strongest shipbuilding base holds the ultimate advantage. Right now, that country isn't the United States. Faced with China's industrial juggernaut, the United States has started to respond. But is it enough? Let's start with the big idea on the table: the proposed creation of a United States Office of Shipbuilding. This new agency would oversee a national strategy to restore America's shipbuilding capacity, coordinating funding, workforce development, and partnerships between the military and private sector. Some see it as a modern-day Manhattan Project for maritime power. But even bigger moves are being discussed. One of the most aggressive proposals? Imposing fees on all Chinese-built ships that enter U.S. ports. The idea? Make it more expensive to rely on foreign shipyards and redirect that revenue into revitalizing American yards. Another proposal would mandate that a percentage of all U.S. exports be shipped on American-made and crewed vessels, effectively guaranteeing demand for domestic shipbuilding. Critics argue these moves could raise prices and disrupt global trade, but supporters say they're necessary to rebalance the playing field, especially in an era where China subsidizes its shipbuilding industry with billions annually. There's also a push to retrain a new generation of American shipbuilders. Trade schools, apprenticeships, and union partnerships are all being explored to rebuild the workforce that once made U.S. yards the envy of the world. And it's not just government. Private companies and military contractors are beginning to invest in AI-assisted design, modular shipbuilding, and automated welding technologies, all aimed at shrinking construction timelines. But here's the twist. Most Americans support action. A recent poll found that a majority want the U.S. to rebuild its maritime industry, not just to compete, but to protect national security. The will is there. The tools are ready. The question now is, will the U.S. act fast enough to matter? China isn't just outproducing the world in shipbuilding, it's using that dominance to reshape global power. By fusing commercial and military production, Beijing has created a system that churns out both cargo giants and cutting-edge warships, often from the same docks. Meanwhile, the United States, once a shipbuilding superpower, has let its yards decay, its workforce shrink, and its capacity dwindle to a fraction of China's. This imbalance isn't just an economic concern, it's a strategic vulnerability. From ports equipped with Chinese-built cranes to the sheer size of the PLA Navy, the implications are clear. China is preparing for more than trade. But the story isn't over. The U.S. is waking up. New policies, new investments, and public support are building momentum. There's a growing realization that ships aren't just tools of commerce, they're instruments of power. And as the waves of this rivalry rise, one question remains. Can America rebuild its shipyards and reclaim its maritime future before it's too late? Because in this century, the contest for global leadership may not be decided on land or even in space, but at sea.